Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cleveland Sports Bros podcast. I'm Matt alongside my brother Nick. Nick, how are you doing today?
Great, excited to be back talking Cleveland sports.
Yeah, so we this time we're going to talk about all three of the Cleveland sports teams, starting with an update on the Cleveland Browns, what's going on with free agency, and some of their offseason moves.
Yeah, so this offseason, we see this all the time with Browns fans demanding more. Uh, in past years, especially for the defensive line, and now that they acquired Deshaun Watson, uh, more help on the wide receiver. They brought in a guy by the name of Dalvin Tomlinson, a tackle from the Minnesota Vikings. Big guy, said he's excited to play alongside Myles Garrett and a good threat to occasionally get in and get the quarterback. They, since they lost John Johnson, they brought in Juan Thornhill, a free safety that they got in free agency from the Chiefs, two-time Super Bowl champion, to bring good leadership to the locker room, and they're expected to get big plays from him in the secondary. Anthony Walker was re-signed. He got injured early in the year in 2022 against the Steelers. And another guy that they believe brings great leadership, um, Jordan Atkins, a former tight end from the Houston Texans, who also played with Deshaun. I don't think he'll make as big a splash as Njoku, but he could be a big help for the Browns down in the red zone. And defensive end, he's got a unusual name, but Obo, they go by the nickname, is gonna be opposite Myles Garrett since they no longer have Jadeveon Clowney. And with the new wide receiver additions, the Browns traded their 42nd pick to the New York Jets to obtain Elijah Moore, a speedy wide receiver. And they also were able to acquire through free agency another speedy threat, wide receiver Marquise Goodwin. So great pieces that Andrew Berry was able to bring in. I know a lot of fans are excited. And if you think about it, they got one player from this past year's Super Bowl team and one ex-coach who is a defensive coordinator in Jim Schwartz. Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of moves, not quite, of course, as big of a splash as last year or even in previous years with OBJ and Deshaun Watson or anything like that. But two of the players you named, I want to talk a little bit more about. Obviously, I love seeing Juan Thornhill from the Chiefs. Like you said, a two-time Super Bowl champion. He started for the Chiefs, played in 16 games last year. And some other stats of his, he had 3 interceptions and 4 tackles for a loss from the free safety position. I consider that pretty good. So yeah, I'm really happy about that signing and glad he decided Cleveland. And then also want to talk about Elijah Moore. I know that there was talk even kind of early in the season last year that he was open about being unhappy with being with the Jets, and there was talk of the Browns maybe, or at least talk that they should go after him in a trade. So of course that didn't happen last season, but now it has, and I think he has a lot of potential. Still unsure, of course, if he'll be a great locker room guy or anything like that. If he's going to be happy here, because while the Jets weren't perfect by any means last year, they improved and he certainly could have been a key piece. But one more thing to point out, that in his first year, in his rookie season, he played in 11 games and he had 5 touchdowns. So that's, I think impressive, and certainly hopefully Deshaun Watson will improve and kind of return to form on the field. And hopefully he can be a big weapon. He certainly can be a number 2 or 3 receiver, I think.
Yeah, and I was listening yesterday, very briefly, I'll mention, what is it, the NFL Combine? Uh, the media was speaking with Stefanski, and he said this, he, he's gonna have a totally new offense for Deshaun. He's gonna let Deshaun do his own thing, mostly when it comes to no huddles and stuff like that, change of play if he sees something in the defense that maybe the Browns offense can overcome. So he's going to let Deshaun be the leader and he's going to have to show it on and off the field. So very exciting stuff. It'll be the first uh, elite QB in Stefanski's coaching career.
Yeah, or at least the, should be for the price tag. So, all right, I think real good update on the Browns. We'll definitely be sure to bring more as we hear more in the off season if there's any major moves or changes or updates to bring. All right, Nick, let's talk Cavs. Very, very exciting news for them.
Absolutely. This past Sunday, they clinched what is likely going to be the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. They beat the Houston Rockets 108-91 at the field house. So very exciting to see them not only clinch, but clinch at home. And the first time the Cavs have earned a playoff spot without LeBron James. And even if you want to go back further, truly, like, even without
1998.
1998, what's his name? Larry Nance Sr.
Yeah.
Very exciting stuff. And this upcoming Friday, if the standings don't change, we know they're guaranteed a home court advantage in the first round, but this Friday against the New York Knicks, it could be a round 1 preview. If they are able to move up one more seed, which is possible based on theirs and the 76ers schedule, they could face the Brooklyn Nets. But I think either way, a winnable round for Cleveland.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely really exciting stuff. The Cavs did what they expected so far, in the regular season. So now they're going to host a playoff series. That's what everyone was hoping for and asked for, and the bar was really set for a top 4 team in the conference, and they're going to do that. But also now I think they need to win a playoff series, and I really think they need to win 2 games in the next round as well. So I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but take care of business, finish out the regular season, stay healthy, and let's hope for an exciting playoffs.
Definitely. One final quick note. You talk about not getting ahead of ourselves, but fans seem to do that when they reach this time of year. If the Cavs, whoever they may face, Brooklyn or New York, if they are able to win round 1, let's say they play the Boston Celtics, they won 3 of the 4 matchups this year. All of the wins came in overtime, and if they are fortunate that they not only win but end up facing Boston, I could see them maybe going to the Eastern Conference Finals before someone knocks them out. So I'm very excited. We're just a week and a half or so away.
Yeah, it'd be nice to kind of bring back those Cavs Celtics playoff series that we used to have in LeBron's first time around here. So in second time as well, but especially that first time, it'd be great to be able to relive that again. Although this time without LeBron. So, all right, moving on to the Guardians. Nick, what do we have here? The season's about to start.
Yeah, can't believe it. So they start tomorrow at Seattle. It's going to be a late West Coast game, 10 o'clock. But for the 4th straight season, Shane Bieber is going to make the start for the Indians, now Guardians. So very exciting. He'll go up against Luis Castillo, a very solid pitcher in the Mariners rotation. And the Guardians added some pieces as well, kind of like what the Browns did. They filled in their needs. they were looking for a power bat at the first base position. They added that with Josh Bell, and they did that to kind of give some rest to like off days, not off days, but uh keep Josh Naylor in the lineup, maybe use him more at DH. He'll still get playing time at first base, but I think he and Josh, with both being able to hit power, will rotate every now and then from DH to first. And I mentioned Josh Naylor. Um, his brother Bo Naylor, a catcher, will get some playing time this year. I'm not positive if he's on the starting rotation lineup, but it'll be exciting to see Josh and Bo play together. And then they added what I'm being told is a power hitting catcher. Don't see that too often, but Mike Zunino from the Tampa Bay Rays. We all know that unfortunately they had to move on from Roberto Perez, so I'm looking forward to seeing Bell and Zunino play.
Yeah, I know one of the things that was definitely missing from the lineup was a couple of power hitters. I think one or two, and we're not talking Aaron Judge, but we're talking, within reason, power hitters. It would have really made a huge difference. I'm not saying they would have won the World Series or anything like that, but I think just one or two more bats in that lineup would have taken care of the Yankees. So really, like any sport or any season, got to be healthy, especially in a kind of smaller market team. But really looking forward to the Cards season, and I guess one thing I would ask is, Nick, I think we ought to make a prediction. They had 92 wins in the regular season last year, and more or less than that. And if you could pick a number, what would it be?
Well, I believe they'll win the ALCS again. I'd have to.
You mean
Yeah, I'm sorry, the division. Um, I'll go 3 games higher and say 95 wins. I'm not great at the math on the other end, but what is it, 93 and 76 or something? 95, I mean.
95 and 67?
Yeah, and but real quick, we know the baseball rules are gonna be added this season, but I wanted to make a quick note. The Guardians extended Andres Jimenez, the second baseman, who's got some pop in his bat. He was a Gold Glover All-Star last year. They got him for the next 7 years. A big move made by Antonetti and Francona and all the guys involved.
Yeah, for sure. Really excited about that too. So sorry I jumped the gun on the prediction, but I'll give mine now. I will say I won't be quite as optimistic, but I'll say they'll outdo themselves by 1 game that they did last year. But I will say that I'll agree. I think you say the same, that they will win the ALCS this year, or I'm sorry, the ALDS. But maybe the ALCS, but I think they will win the ALDS, and they'll end the regular season with a record of 93-69, posting a 1 game better record than last year. So I'll take either one. 93 wins or 95, or 90, I think would do it certainly, but really can't wait for the season to start.
Yeah, and one final quick note, we're gonna try and get through the new rules real quickly. So we know they're adding a pitch clock and they're taking away the ability to shift, which was actually invented by the Indians in 1941. But what they're doing with a pitch clock is having when the bases are empty, the pitcher will have 15 seconds to release the baseball. The batter will need to be in the box with 8 seconds on the clock, and they will have 1 timeout per at bat to call time. Then anytime 1 or more bases are occupied, the pitcher will have 20 seconds. And adding on to the new rules, so they're trying to speed up the game and get taking away the shift, get more hits, more excitement. And with the addition of pitch clock and no shift, they're also limiting the pitchers to 2 throwovers to trying to pick off a base runner. And you can try and make a third, but if you are unsuccessful on the third attempt, it's an automatic balk, and any base runner or runners will move up a base. So it's going to be very interesting. You know, averages will probably get higher, ERAs unfortunately may go higher. And there's going to be some nights this doesn't work in the Guardians' favor, but it's going to be a lot of fun. They've done this for over 8,000 games in the minors, and they say it's cut the games by what, half hour?
Yeah, about half an hour, so. Yeah, I like the rule changes, but well, can't wait to see how they play out when, you know, the games actually matter. Yeah, so thanks for that, rule update and the update on all the teams. All right, everyone, thank you for listening. You have been listening to the Cleveland Sports Bros podcast.